Entrepreneurs and management. So the hardest thing to do, especially as an entrepreneur, is to delegate. Because what happens is that you get so used to doing it your way, you're so successful doing it your way, and you don't really, you know that if you don't do it, and there's this slight chance that it won't get done, and therefore, all the wheels will fall off and the business is going to fail, right? So this is all the mental anxiety. Sorry, we're in a New York office, and we tend to get people like dancing on our head if anybody could hear that. So what happens is you think that the only way to do everything is to do it yourself, and it's a trap that we fall into and have fallen into, and it's a trap that we would guess everyone else falls into too. But the thing is, you may be able to do everything, but you certainly can't do everything well when you run out of time. What happens is you're not, as a manager, if you're trying to do everything yourself, which falls into something we'll talk about a little bit later, which is micromanaging. But if you try to do everything yourself, then you're really not freeing yourself up to do the important things that only you can do. And those things usually are involved the future of the business. Sure, most people can do the tasks, but to really move the business forward, they have to free up their time to think about what the future is going to look like and plan for the future and maybe find opportunities that they hadn't thought of before to grow their business. And the other thing is, when you sort of support your team and teach your team and put things on their plate that are once on your plate, then they get to grow, and they will bring you opportunities, and they will start adding back value to you that you never even knew was an option. You may think you knew things the best way to do it, but if you delegate it down and say, okay, this is how I've done it, we want you to make it yours, and then they come up with a way that's maybe faster, more efficient, or works for them, and then it's off your plate and you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Okay, so here's another poll. Do you consider yourself a micromanager? Wow.
Yeah. That's something that you really have to work at, not being a micromanager when you run your own business.
It's so true. Okay, so that's pretty good. I'm so proud of everybody.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone would say, absolutely. Now I'm feeling
People are voting. Everybody's not voting yet. We want to hear from, wait, maybe I can, can I vote? Does it register my vote?
Now I'm feeling like a micromanager. Okay, so let's hop into why it's absolutely essential that you do delegate. Okay, so even if you work for a small business, as a manager, the reality is that even if you want to, you can't do everything yourself. There's only so many hours in the day, and as you get more senior, you're actually worth a lot of money per hour, so you're going to cost the business money if you don't take stuff off your plate. And the second thing is, if you hire well, your employees should offer the skills that complement yours. So like Kim was saying, they're going to start contributing something unique to your business. And that's a real asset, and it's a learning opportunity for you. So those are the first two things you really, really need to do, the essentials of delegation.
By the way,
the third thing is,
Angelo has a question here. He's asking, how important is it to have capable people to delegate to?
Oh, well, we all know this. It's all about the hiring. Yeah, you absolutely need to have capable people to delegate to. But when you, we're going to get into this a little later, but when you hire somebody that is capable, there's sort of an unwritten, you're making an agreement with this person that you're going to allow them to do their job and you're going to let them grow. So yes, absolutely, start with the capable person, but then your part of the equation is that you're going to let them do their job and not micromanage.
Can I jump in for 1 second on that? We found that, and the women we interviewed, one of the biggest challenges is hiring the right person because they're not exactly sure what they want the person to do. They know they need help, but especially in a small business, how are they going to kind of carve up the pie with the work? What is it that really, and this kind of flows right back into being a micromanager. So the first step in getting the best person for you, the best fit for you, is to be so rigorous in coming up with what the job is. And that means spending time, whether you have to do it in the middle of the night or not, writing up a job description. Who is the ideal candidate and what are they going to do when they get here? And then that way, when you're interviewing, whether you interview by using a headhunter, or if you want to just put the word out among your network, or if you're going to put an ad in the paper, the more specific understanding of what this role is within the organization, and then the skills that are needed to fill this position doesn't necessarily have to be someone who was doing it before, but they sort of have the skills that you need to, maybe what you've decided is that like all the sort of housekeeping, bookkeeping, administrative stuff, that's something that you need to get off your plate. So you're very specific in carving out, setting up what this job description looks like, so that when you're interviewing people, that already you start off with clear communication and clear expectations of what this person, how they'll fit into your organization. And then, as Caitlin said, then it's sort of like, then how are they going to grow within the organization? But the first step is really figuring out what you want them to do, at least in the first year, so that, or the first 6 months. And that way, then you're sort of setting the cards in your favor to hire the right person. Sorry, Kate, thanks.
That was really good, Kim. Thanks for jumping in.
Great advice.
Good advice. Okay, so the third reason you have to delegate is you, as a small business owner and manager, your workload is going to increase, and you can't take on more until you take things off your list. So Kim and I sort of get into this at our office. I mean, we do run this PR business. We also write books and do speaking and have a couple other projects that we're working on. And we would love to do even more projects, but we can't do more projects or write more books until we get some of the work off our list. So this is something we kind of have to remind ourselves all the time. And the fourth reason, if you don't delegate, you're actually limiting how much you can learn and grow. And part of the most wonderful thing about being a small business owner is that you do have the opportunity to grow and learn and tackle things and challenge yourself and wear many different hats. And if you are just sort of keeping yourself focused on the nitty-gritty and not focused on the big picture or your opportunities, you're limiting yourself. Okay, so if you don't delegate, you're not, like I had mentioned this before, honoring the unspoken agreement that you're teaching your employees the business, especially as a small business owner. If you bring someone on board, then they're really probably interested in the business and interested in what you do and how you do it. I mean, you're actually in a mentor role, especially as a boss of a small business. So you need to take that seriously and not just delegating the little stuff, but also teaching people to take on the big stuff too. And then lastly, it isn't good for your business to have someone at your level doing everything. Like we mentioned before, you're now probably an expensive asset for the company, so you need to respect that. And you need to start bringing people in at more junior levels to take on more work.